And today, in very exciting news, I have finally gotten my bestop super top for the Tacoma installed, and I thought I'd go over a few key things on it if you're trying to install one of these. I was gonna make a video on installing it, but with family and everything in for Christmas and all, it was kind of difficult to do. This top was a little bit pricey, but I'm planning on doing a cross-country type deal through Utah and doing Moab and all that kind of stuff. So I needed something to sleep in, and I've kind of wanted to put a camper shell in the truck for a while now, and sadly, I don't have anywhere to put a hard top. They're really heavy, and I still want to be able to use this thing as a pickup if I wanted to. And with a hard top, they're expensive, they're heavy, you have to have a place to put them. It takes two people to take them on and off, and if you need to go pick something up really quick, you're kind of stuck with a top. So for this, and it's gonna, but this whole thing comes apart and folds down, so you can still use it as a pickup if you wanted to. However, some things that I found, if you're trying to put this thing on in colder weather, which, I've never owned a Jeep or anything, and the company that makes the bestop convertible tops also makes them for Jeeps. I did not know, and I probably should have thought of this ahead of time or done my research a little better, but when it's cold, these tops are very, very difficult to put on, if not impossible. And they say it only takes about an hour and a half to install, but this thing took me a couple days with the temperatures being in the low 20s. I didn't want to damage the windows and the top in general. I will say that it has been raining here for the past couple days, and it has kept the inside of the truck quite, reasonably dry. I have some ice in there when we had some snow. But if you're going to install this thing when it's cold, my recommendation is, if you have a garage, put it in the garage, and get the top up the best you can. And once, the hardest part is getting these corners clipped in. Once you've got the corners clipped in, what you do is you leave the windows out and put towels or tarp or towels or something like that over the whole top. And then what I found useful, work light if you've got one, and point it at upward, or whatever side you're trying to work on. It'll heat the top up a little better if you don't have any sunlight. The other thing I also did is I put a space heater inside. So you have a light inside, and you're going to want to point it at the side you're working on, or up or something, just to get the top warmer than it is outside. And then in addition to that, I put a space heater inside with tarp or towels covering the windows to keep the heat locked in. And what that does is it warms up the inside of the bed, and it'll allow it to stretch a little bit easier. And something that I'm still working on with this is the gap is way off. Now, I think what it is they give you really good specifications. This is one critique I'd have with it. They have really good specifications on how far these rails are supposed to be. And these rails, they mount inside of the tracks for the cleats, which I still have yet to put in. And they clamp into there, and then there's a rail. And now the arms that allow it to pivot, they're bolted to the rail. So they give really good dimensions on that. However, one critique that I have found in the manual when I was doing it, because you definitely need the manual to put this thing together. It takes about 2 hours if you've never done it before. It probably would have taken me less time if I wasn't overly excited and was like, oh, I'll do it now, and it's like 20 degrees out, which is my mistake, is how far this has to be to the bed. Now, if you look at the back, it's concave, and it's supposed to be stretched out. And I think the problem is they don't really give well instructions or decent instructions on how far you need to push it towards the cab. I'm gonna try to slide it up a little further on a warmer day. It's only 36, and I kind of want to leave it clipped in as is. Again, not to damage the top, and it's a lot easier to fight this thing when it's warm. But I think by sliding it up, it's going to make this thing a lot easier to zip up and everything. Because right now, I got this side zipped in, but this side, you know, it's too concave. It needs to be pushed up further. These windows, in my experience, are a little difficult. No, they're extremely difficult to slide in the first time. I did find I have to kind of lift up on the top, or lift up on the window and then slide it over, because it makes it a lot easier. But I do like this top a lot in saying how difficult the installation was. And again, I can't stress it enough. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact I did it when it was 20 degrees out. I did take it for a drive. There's not a whole lot of noise. Sometimes if you don't have the radio on and the vents are off, you can sort of hear the frame squeaking a little bit, but it's not bad. This was, I would guess, about half the cost of a hardtop, and it's a lot easier to use, and you can fold it down and use it as a truck. So, not to get this any longer than it already is, but yeah, I'd say if you're gonna do it in the cold, heat the inside of the pickup bed if it's possible. If it's not, you're gonna have to wait, because otherwise, from what I've read, these windows get a little fragile when it's cold, and I don't really want to break them. So yeah, stopping by, I thought I'd do a quick little walk around and show how it looks on the truck, and some cold weather installation tips if you're gonna do it in the cold. My recommendation is wait till it's warm out, but if you're gonna do it, make sure that you've got like a heat source in there and put some blankets over and get it nice and warm. Have a nice day.